And now our fifth story out front. Is Penn State making promises it's not going to keep? The university faces millions in costs and damages as a result of the Jerry Sandusky scandal, including $60 million in NCAA penalties, more than $10 million in investigative and public relations costs, and who knows how much in damages for the victims of Jerry Sandusky. The school recently issued a statement saying it won't use philanthropic money, taxes, or tuition to pay any of those penalties. But does that promise add up? Sarah Ganem is out front tonight, and she has been covering and breaking this story from day one. So you've looked into how much this is really going to cost. When you look through the numbers, what do you find?
Aaron, I think this could get higher than $100 million, and here's why. Beyond the $60 million NCAA fine, beyond the $7.6 million that they've spent in crisis management, that's just until February. If you look at that number and multiply it over, let's say, 5 years, that amount of time, that amount of money, you're already at the $100 million mark. That doesn't include a $13 million loss in bowl revenue, potential lawsuits. Let's take just a small chunk. There are 10 victims in that grand jury presentment, 10 victims that have had convictions. If you multiply that by the average payout in the Catholic Church sex abuse scandal, which is very similar, you get to a $20 million number automatically. We've got fines, potential loss of aid, federal aid for students who go to Penn State. So all of this, and you're looking at a long-term, several years. I think it could get well above $100 million, but really that's a mark that we're fast approaching.
Fast approaching already, so it could get a lot worse. So how much money do they have when they try to say, hey, look, we're not going to use tuition, we're not going to use tax money? Are they going to be able to keep that promise? I mean, what's the hole that they have?
Well, they have a lot of money. They have a $1.8 billion endowment. But the promise is that they're not going to use donation money, tuition money, which comes from students, and the big one is taxpayer dollars.
Right.
And the thing about the caveat is we really can't check that because right to know laws, the open record laws in Pennsylvania, this university isn't subject to them. They're actually immune from them. And interestingly enough, the reason, the big lobby for that immunity was the former president, who's now been accused by the internal investigation at Penn State.
That's amazing.
Of covering this up.
Well, plus the endowment itself. I mean, there's a lot of people who have given to that money over the years, probably alumni, who don't want a dollar of it going to this, but that they could, though, right?
Potentially. Now, the university has promised that it won't, but when you look at, the potential for the expenses to grow, at some point, when does their rainy day fund expire?
Right. You can't use taxpayer, you can't use tuition, you can't use donations.
At some point, they're going to get to a point where their rainy day fund, the pots of money that they're pulling from now, when they run out, where does this go? And Aaron, we don't know where that money was going before. So the money that is being spent on the scandal now, if that was going to certain educational needs before, how do we know that tuition dollars are not making up for that, or the endowment?
All right. Thanks for